You put your mind to something. You say, hey, I'm gonna be a professional midwife / cobbler. I'm gonna imitate a professional midwife / cobbler, and you do it, and you can do it. What the f— Before I tell you what I'm gonna do, I have a bit of a confession to make. Back when Good Omens 2 came out, I thought it'd be a super funny joke to act like I was extremely obsessed with Bildad the Shuhite, like inordinately obsessed with him. I had watched the Bildad episode. You know, I liked him what I felt was like a normal amount, and I just thought it would be funny to take that to an unreal level, above and beyond, like more than anybody probably should be obsessed with this character. I just thought it would be really funny in like a haha ironic way, and I bet you can guess where this is going. Yeah. Joke's on me. It's not funny anymore. Now I am genuinely obsessed with Bildad the Shuhite. Now it's to the point where making silly tweets about him is not enough. Talking about him at the dinner table with my family, saving every single screenshot of that episode, making edits, making my own Bildad merch. All of that is not enough. I think my love for Bildad has reached the point where now I feel the need to become him. So with that, I would like to introduce
making a Bildad the Shuhite cosplay because I've been possessed by a literal demon, part 1.
Now, due to a tremendous lack of experience in doing stuff like this is gonna be a big project. This is gonna be a big undertaking, okay? But I have a plan. My plan is to make glasses, make beard style wig, robe and stuff, secret fourth thing. Okay, secret fourth thing I'm really excited about, and that's why I saved it for last. I think if I can pull it off, it's gonna be f***ing hilarious and like really cute and just like an amazing addition to this cosplay. So this is the journey I'm going on, and you're coming with me. I'm gonna stop talking. We're gonna go do it, okay? Let me show you.
So to start, I've ordered these glasses from AliExpress to use as a base to build off of. If you didn't know, the glasses they used in the show are from a brand called Regards. They're gorgeous, and I totally would have ordered them instead of putting myself through this, but almost $700 US, which is like 5 billion Canadian dollars. They're a little bit out of my budget. These ones were $8, so of course they're not phenomenal in terms of quality, but I think they're cute, I like the proportions, and they should work just fine as a base to build off of. So the original plan was to cut this part of the frames out of some foam core that I got from the dollar store, and then make the bridge, and I don't know what you call these, the other little details, out of some god-awful combination of this wire I got from Home Depot. And some tinfoil.
Honestly, I'm sure this approach would have turned out fine, but after thinking about it more, I decided that if I'm gonna go to the effort of doing something that brings me mental anguish, which is cutting and measuring stuff, I wanted to have a bit more longevity, and also I want to be able to achieve better accuracy. And I don't think I could get as close to a good result with these materials as I could with something else. So one quick Google search opened me up to the entire world of EVA foam. It's a whole thing. I'd never heard of this stuff before, but it is widely used in cosplay for making props and armor and just about everything. And then I went on a big spiral of watching like hours of videos of people making amazing things. So I saw that and I was like, I want that. I want to do that too. I want to be a foam prop master. Forget this. Okay, this is going away. So I've got this EVA foam I ordered off of Amazon from the Foamery. Very cute. I got 4mm thickness, and I got high density foam because I figured since the glasses are so thin and there's like those thin details on them and stuff, I wanted something that was more rigid, and it's supposed to be better for getting details in it and stuff. I don't know, we'll see.
The foam is still in tube form right now, so I'm just sticking it under my cutting mat to flatten it out while I work on making a template for my glasses. To start, I'm just taking some measurements for the lens diameter, the bridge, and those little things on the side. Now I switch over to Photoshop where I lay out those measurements to build up my template and make sure it'll sit correctly over my glasses. Once that's done, I print it off, cut it out, and stick it on my glasses to see how it fits.
I'm really happy with the proportions. Like I had to move this part of the bridge down a little bit so it would cover up the bridge of my glasses. I think it looks really good though. I like the size. Feels right. Yeah? Yeah. One thing though is like this part sticking out bothers me more than I thought it would. So I'm just gonna try and edit my mock-up in Photoshop one more time, cut this out again, paste it on, and see if it looks weird if I were to like move this down. I think there's still something weird about these now. Like this is getting covered up, which is nice. There's something a little bit off about the proportions, but at this point I'm calling it good enough. If I need to, I could probably fix it in the foam stage tomorrow because I am tired of working on these right now. I will see you then for foam time. I'm so excited.
Oopsies. Turns out life has handsome times, so here we are. We get knocked down and we get up again, and we continue making a Bildad costume. Luckily, the 2-month break gave the foam lots of time to flatten out, so that's nice. And now that I have my piece cut out, it's finally time to turn it into a beautiful pair of glasses. To start, I'm just transferring my template here by taping it to the foam and then tracing around it with a pencil to score the shape in before I cut it out. Now that that's ready, I can buckle myself in for a nice evening of cut and foam, baby. If there's one thing you need to know about me, it's that I need to be comfy and cozy at all times. So I've got my tea and my Baldur's Gate Let's Play set up, and it's time to just give her. Also, this is funny. What we're witnessing right now is the beginning of my Baldur's Gate 3 addiction. I believe this was filmed in December, and it's April at the time of me recording this, so that's just to give you a little peek behind the curtain of how fucking long it takes me to get anything done. Baldur's Gate was part of that problem, admittedly. Yeah. Did not touch grass or see the sun for quite some time. But anyways, look at those guys. Not too shabby, hey? Well, they're a little shabby, but we can fix it later. I'm also trimming off the fancy bits in the bridge because I felt like it'd be easier to sand them and get all the details in this way. The bridge will also be curved and it needs to be heated up for that, and that's gonna be a whole thing. So I'm gonna cut them off, sand them, and then glue them back on. It's fine, I'm sure it'll work. It'll work.
Okay, I found my sandpaper. I also have this like sanding block. I don't know. This is fine for sure. Very fine. Okay, good. Oh no. Oh no. All right, there, like a normal person. Do you think it's working? I don't know if you can see that. Okay, you can't really see it, but like to me, the fuzzies are kind of coming off there. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try this nail file. Oh my god. I'm gonna try this nail file out and see how that works. Ooh. I mean, hello? That's kind of working.
As I'm working away on this, I decide to cut the fancy bits in half with my X-Acto knife so they're thinner than the frames. It's a big precarious pain in the ass, and I do not recommend doing this. After that, I was trying to think of how I can add in the details since I'm not able to cut or carve into the foam anymore due to how thin it is. So what I land on is pressing into it with my pencil to try and mimic the edges of the glasses. And that's how it looks in comparison to where we started. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. Will it work? Probably. I'm trying positive thinking right now, okay? Now, I'm going to repeat the same process on the other one, and then it's bridge time. So I wound up cutting a new piece for the bridge because the one that I cut out was from a 2D template that did not consider the fact that it would be curving in 3D space, and thus wouldn't meet the edges of the frames when curved in said space. You get it. Anyway, so I have a new piece here that's been extended out to hopefully account for that. It was a whole ordeal of measuring. I don't want to revisit that. It was not a fun time for me. Now I just hit this piece with my proprietary pencil scraping X-Acto knife foam carving technique, which may or may not actually be effective, I'm not sure. And here's how the bridge piece looks now that it's been all sanded and carved into. Don't ask me who took this footage. I don't know. Okay, I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, that doesn't matter because
it's heat gun time. So I have this heat gun. I've never used it before, but I'm thinking like, this is just a super fancy hair dryer to me. Like a really masculine hair dryer, you know? The only concern I have with this, honestly, is that like, I live in a pretty old basement. Everything in this entire basement is on the same breaker, so I have to be like really careful with what I plug in because certain like, you know, high energy things like this will trip the breaker if there's like too many things going at once. So like, fingers crossed. Anyways, I'm gonna find somewhere to plug this in. I'll be back, hopefully.
I am over the moon to tell you that the heat gun works and the lights can stay on. So that's a big one. That means I can actually work on this. I've laid down the silicone mat to help protect my desk. The heat still transfers through, but I think it helps to have a barrier there anyways. And now it's finally time to use the heat gun. My goal with this is to heat up the foam enough to get rid of all the little air pockets and basically seal in the surface so that when I go in to paint it, the paint and the primer won't get absorbed in the foam as much, which should look nicer overall and help prevent the paint from cracking or peeling in the future. I'll admit I was super intimidated doing this for the first time, but the process wound up being a lot quicker and easier than I thought. While I'm working, I can see the surface change as it's being sealed, which is really cool. And if I had a better other camera, you could see it too. The foam now actually feels a lot more dense and sturdy, which is fun. But as you're about to see with the Heatgun, I don't think more is more because I absolutely overcooked the pieces, especially the fancy bits. Like the frames are okay. The frames will be fine, but these fancy bits are totally shriveled up. They shrunk way more than I feel like they should have. But it's not the end of the world because it also revealed to me that my pencil carving technique did not work. Didn't work even a little bit, but that's okay because it's time to unveil to you my new proprietary technique, which is cut out the pieces again, heat them up, and then while they're still warm, press down as evenly as possible to flatten them out. And to my genuine surprise, it actually seems to work. Who would have guessed it looks 5,000 times better than when I tried to saw them in half with my X-Acto knife? So now I'm faced with my next issue. The pencil and the knife scraping combo didn't work, so how do I get these details in? You may have noticed I'm using this pointy metal tool and sometimes a pointy wooden tool. Those are actually from my pottery class, but I'm using them to hold down the foam while I heat it up. And I had a brain moment where I was looking at my metal tool and I was looking at the heat gun and I was like, I could heat up metal? I can just heat this thing up and sear in my little details? Question mark? The answer is absolutely fuck yes I can. Look at this. This is like, we have a Dremel at home. We have a hot knife foam tool thing at home. So with this new discovery, I just keep going back and forth, heating the tool up, putting the little details in, and I take this effect into the bridge as well, and it works fantastically well, and it actually saves me on sanding time. Sanding the foam is way easier after it's been heated up. It's so much more rigid, and all the little fuzzy bits have hardened, so it's so easy to just kind of brush those guys off with the sandpaper. And so now with all the details set in here, the last thing I need to do is bend the bridge. This was another thing I was super intimidated by, but all I did was heat up the foam, hold it into the shape that I wanted, sort of overbent it a little bit because I wasn't sure how well it was going to set, and sure enough, it worked like a charm, and it took 5 seconds, and I procrastinated for no reason because this was, again, a lot easier than I expected it to be. I'm sure working on larger pieces like armor and swords and horns and all the awesome stuff that people make is going to be a bit more involved than my little tiny little baby nose bridge, but I think this is a great way to sort of get used to the medium, test it out, all that fun stuff. I will say I'm feeling a little overconfident and a little ambitious now because I'm looking at other cosplays I can do, like, oh, I could do Raphael from Baldur's Gate 3. I could make his horns. This is easy. I know how to use foam now. Anyways, that might be a fun project I take on in the future, but right now it's all about Bildad, baby. God, I love Bildad so much. I still haven't stopped thinking about him. I made a shirt that wound up getting a lot of views on TikTok, and that actually helped me pay for my dental bills, which was a really nice thing that happened. So if you happen to purchase my Bildad shirt from me on Etsy, thank you for helping me with my teeth. I really needed it. Anyways, back to the glasses. So what you saw me do was try to get the bridge piece to fit flush with the frames of the glasses, which is important for when I glue them together because more surface area means better bond with the contact cement, right? But I lost patience with it very quickly, and they were too curved, so I snipped them off and glued them back on. Good enough. Now that that's all ready, I can move on to gluing all these bits back together.
Alright, so for gluing the rest of this, I'm going to be using this contact cement that I got because when I was doing my research, everybody uses this. It might be overkill for something like this, for like these tiny pieces that are just going to be sitting on glasses and not like really moving that much, but I thought it'd be a good experience. Everybody else uses it, so I wanted to use it too. So I'm just going to read these instructions and then like put a respirator on probably because I don't want to fuck around with fumes. I don't do that anymore. It's not my thing.
Before I go to town with this contact cement, I need to know where I'm putting it, so I'm using my template here as a guide to help me mark off where the pieces will be attached. Now that that's done, I'm putting my pieces down on some MDF board to protect my cutting mat from getting glue all over it. Now, just using a scrap piece of foam, I'm applying the contact cement as evenly as possible to every surface where the attachments are and waiting for that to dry before applying another coat. Since the EVA foam is very porous, it requires an extra coat in order to form a proper bond, at least with the cement that I'm using. A lot of it soaked in on the first pass, which I could tell because it dried quite dull, as you can see here, when it's supposed to look glossy. And if I sound like an expert, I'm not. I'm just reading off the instructions on the back. Now that everything's dry, it's finally time to start attaching these pieces. The bond forms instantly, so this process was incredibly stressful. So stressful, in fact, that I forgot to hit record, so you'll just have to imagine how epic attaching the first piece and not fucking it up was. Also, I have to mention I'm so glad that I was using my respirator because I took it off later and my entire room smelled like poison. And I had to crack open all my windows in the dead of winter. I felt compelled to. It was not good. It was not good. I thought my plants were gonna like die on the spot, you know what I mean? It's like some kind of necrotic magic is what it smelled like. A poison cloud. Poison. Yep. Stink cloud. Anyways.
Okay. Let's just hit pause. Let's just hit pause before we move on, and I just want to see how these look. Okay, ready? What? Don't let anybody tell you you can't achieve your dreams. This is like, you put your mind to something. You say, hey, I'm gonna be a professional midwife slash cobbler. I'm gonna imitate a professional midwife slash cobbler, and you do it, and you can do it. What the fuck, dude? Moving on. I don't want to say goodbye to this stage though, because like it just looks so cute. Okay, it's priming time. I did a lot of reading and I've watched a lot of videos about priming EVA foam, and what I learned was that there's a lot of primers you can use. I decided to go for one that was non-toxic and easy, and I decided to use Mod Podge. Priming might be overkill for these just for the fact that they're not gonna be like bending or moving a lot, so I don't know if like cracking and bubbling is gonna be as much of a concern for me. Either way, it's probably still a good thing to do and a good thing to learn, so it's Mod Podge time.
All right, so I'm just getting my desk set up here. For this, I've got water, sandpaper, a little mixing cup, a bin to soak my sandpaper in, some sponge brushes, and most importantly, this incredibly helpful video from Mercenaries of Mischief on how to actually do this.
Lower layer is dry when it goes clear. Mod Podge takes
Okay.
about 20 minutes per layer to dry. So once you have your first
20
layer on,
minutes.
sit next.
Oh,
Exactly.
20 minutes, dude. Oh man, okay. That's fine.
As per their instructions, I start by diluting the Mod Podge with water, applying an even-ish coat, and then waiting 20 whole entire minutes for it to dry.
Okay, here's our first coat. It dries nice and clear, I like that. I'm gonna go at it again with a thicker coat and just keep doing that. Hope for the best.
Now that I'm confident I haven't somehow ruined the piece, I repeat the process until I've got 3 coats of Mod Podge. The frames do actually feel a bit more durable while still retaining some flexibility. I'm really happy with the results, so I move on to sand these for when I'm praying is the final time. I really don't want to look at another piece of sandpaper. I'm over it.
I wish you could feel this through the screen, you guys. It's like so smooth. That is nice. Okay, here they are. Look at that. These are the glasses, sanded and Mod Podged to the best of my ability, really. Which means it's fucking painting time. That's like the one thing I know how to do in this entire project is paint. I'm really excited to not have to think too hard. I don't have to watch a million videos. I don't have to read a bunch of articles. I can just bust these materials out and get to town on it, which is what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm just getting set up with my acrylics here, and I don't know if I mentioned I haven't used them for a year. I'm not worried about paints being dry or whatever, like they're in tubes. The one thing I'm worried about though is this. If you haven't seen one of these before, this is a Stay Wet palette. It's a sponge that you moisten, and then there's palette paper on top of it, and then you can mix your paints on it and seal it, and your acrylic paints will stay wet for days and days and days because this is like all sealed and stuff. In fact, what's in here might still be wet, and that's what I'm worried about, is that these bad boys can get moldy if they don't get opened because there's a lot of moisture in there, and like that's disgusting. So this could just be a nice little box of moldy paint, and I really am frightened to open it because I don't like mold. Who likes mold? Not me. Not you either, I bet. Nobody. Let's just open it. Okay, this is like, I don't want to do this. I really... Oh, yep. That's not good. I think... No, yeah, that's mold. Ow, shit. This has been Studio Safety with Damp Eyes. Thanks for watching. Here's our nice, clean, disinfected Stay Wet palette.
So I'm just setting up my palette here, and I decided to read through the instructions that came with the sponge, and I found out that you can spray the palette and the sponge with some hydrogen peroxide to prevent that little mold thing from happening again. So I thank you guys for staying with me during my little mold era. but let's hope there's no more mold era. Let's hope the mold era ends here.
Okay, awesome. I'm all set up here. My palette's ready. I found some great reference on the internet here of the glasses. Got my paintbrushes, my water, and my paint. This is what's going to be doing most of the heavy lifting. This golden iridescent silver fine fluid acrylics. I've never used the golden metallic paints before, so I actually don't know if this is the best option. I've always had good experience using these paints, but metallic paints are kind of a different thing, right? So hopefully this has a nice effect.
Now, this won't be the only color I'm using. I'm also adding some Payne's Gray, titanium white, and ivory black to my palette to adjust the value of the metallic paint. And after testing it out on one of the fancy bits, I also throw in the primary colors. One, because these glasses have 2 different colors, and actually if you zoom in on the frames, many different colors. So in order to add some, dimensionality and hopefully a bit of realism, I'll be shifting around and playing with the hue a bit instead of using paint straight out of the tube, which, regardless of color, usually it's often pretty flat if you don't mix anything else into it. So here we are after the first pass, and the only thing I can see at this point is how messy these brushstrokes look. They don't look so bad on camera, but just trust me, it's not cute. To fix this, I'm cutting off some of my sponge brush here to see if I can get a more even finish by dabbing on the paint instead, and oh my god, it works so much better. This was like the best 50 cents I ever spent was on these brushes. So from here, I'm going to keep going with this technique to build up the rest of these lighter silver areas before painting in some shadows and all that good stuff. Now that those parts are starting to look like something, I can start mixing up a color to paint the frames, which is crazy. That means we're in the home stretch. Like, these guys are almost done. I actually filmed this on my birthday because I thought, wow, what a better gift to give myself than actually finishing this goddamn project. It's fine. Look, let's normalize taking forever to finish something. Let's normalize procrastinating on projects that bring you a lot of joy, and yet for some reason you can't bring yourself to do them. That some reason is called like depression, ADHD, blah 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 blah, life circumstances. Anyways, whatever. I'm in a yapping mood right now. It's fine. As the video comes to an end, I'm in a yapping mood. There were so many obstacles along the way, but I'm so glad I did this. Like, I've learned so much doing this project, so many crafting techniques, so many other things that I want to try now. It's been a lot of fun. I highly recommend taking on a little craft project. I mean, I know a lot of people do, but it's not something that I had done a lot in the past because I've always been so absorbed with work. I used to be an illustrator professionally, and I worked in the video game industry, so it ate up all my time, and I never really gave myself the chance to pursue other interests and hobbies. So this is really fun. This has been really fun. There has been an element of overcoming cringing at myself throughout this because I'm rapidly approaching 30 right now, and I'm like, really? We're gonna start getting into cosplay now? Like, I haven't really done much cosplay since I was 18, 19, and I loved it. It's such a fun way to interface with the characters and the media that you're into. It's delightful. I always had fun going to cons in my little closet cosplay or whatever, and yeah, getting into it again at this age feels bizarre, but I'm like, no, why? Like, I have more money and I have more skills now, so why not? I think it's just the whole cringe thing and age shame that keeps going around on the internet, especially in the spaces that I'm in. Like, I lurk a lot in fandom spaces. I'm often too nervous to participate, which I need to work on because I miss it. I had such an active Tumblr blog when I was younger, and I had so much fun in fandom spaces, and now I mostly lurk on the sidelines, but I'm trying to change that. Anyways, your interests don't die when you get older, and hopefully as we get older, we can maintain some joy and whimsy, because I think we all really need that. The world is a difficult place to exist in, as we know, and cutting yourself off from like little joys and excitement doesn't help you, it doesn't help anybody. Like, we're all just getting excited about art and story. That's great. That's why we're here. That's what makes life good, you know? I could ramble on endlessly about this, but the bottom line is that I'm practicing being cringe and free, and I encourage everybody else to as well. I love being a cringe fail loser out in the open. It feels incredible, and oh my god, wait, hold on. Do you know who else is a cringe fail loser? This fucking guy. That's right. Anyways, it's time to finish these glasses for real now. Let's get these done. Look at how cute they're looking now that they've been painted. Okay, I will be back. I'm gonna go put a couple layers of Mod Podge on these, and then it will be time to actually glue them to my glasses, which is terrifying and exciting all at once, but oh my god. I could just... Don't do that.
don't do that.
And at last, it's time to attach these together. I decided my best course of action here is to rough up the back of the foam and the frames of the glasses with some sandpaper just to make sure that the super glue will bond well. Sanding the plastic of the glasses was insanely finicky and didn't work that well, so I wound up just scoring it a bunch with my knife instead. And then I proceeded to spend the next 10 minutes giving myself a pep talk.
Let's do it. Let's just do it. The only way to do it is to do it. Right? Oh, I see. Okay, whoop, don't get it on your skin. Oh my lord. Just so carefully graze this on. That was nice. Okay, here we go. Could you imagine if I... Uh-oh. Yep. Okay. Oh no. No. Oh sh... I bonded my skin, and then the glasses were not sitting properly, and then... Can I just like... Okay, come on. Okay, we're good. Okay. You know what? This is how I should have done it. Was this way. Okay, they're not fully glued on because of my mishap, but I think they're straight enough that I can just work some super glue in here where I pried it off, and I think that'll be good.
And so here I am, just filling in the gaps with some super glue and pressing down on those areas, serving you up only the finest unfocused footage, all while narrowly avoiding gluing my fingers together again. What can I say? I am a multi-talented, multifaceted individual. And with that, I think it's safe to call these professional midwife/cobbler glasses done.
Oh my god, I love them so much. Look at these. I'm so happy with them. I would call this a success. They're not perfect by any means, but it's amazing how far some foam and acrylic paint will get you. Look at that. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. I'd be shocked if anybody made it this far, but if you did, thank you. I hope you enjoyed watching me make these, and I hope you'll join me for part 2 where I try my absolute best to not destroy Wig. I'm also going to be making a beard. That's going to be a thing too. Oh my god, exciting. Okay, it's happening. I will be Bildad the Shuhite. Okay, thanks again for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Okay, bye!